The accidental reunion, the penthouse smelled like lemon polish and regret. Alina scrubbed the marble counters harder than necessary, her rubber gloves squeaking under the strain. This wasn't her usual gig, just a temp job for extra cash after. The daycare called about Mia's fever. The agency paid triple for emergency cleanings. And rent was due Friday. A sound made her freeze footsteps. The client wasn't supposed to be home. "I'll be done in 20, she called without turning. Heart hammering. Just finishing the kitchen. That voice, deep, British, laced with a roughness that had haunted her dreams for a year. Alina spun, nearly knocking over a vase. Damien Cross stood silhouetted in the doorway, his tailored suit worth more than her car, his icy blue eyes locked on her like she was a ghost. No, like he was the one seeing one. You. His gaze dropped to her wrist where the rose tattoo peeked from her sleeve. The one he'd traced with his tongue that night. The night she'd sworn to forget. Elena's mop clattered to the floor. She'd walked out at dawn, leaving only a lipstick stain on his pillow. Ow! Here he was, close enough to touch, his cologne wrapping around her like a threat. Mr. Cross. Wait. She forced her voice steady. I didn't realize this was you left. He stepped closer, his polished shoes clicking against the tile. No note. No number. It was just one night. Was it? His hand shot out, snagging her name tag. Elena Vasquez, Premier Maids. A muscle jumped in his jaw. Tell me you didn't know. Know what? That I own this building? His laugh was bitter. That you'd end up here, Lenas? Phone buzzed. The daycare. Again, Damien's single quotes eyes flicked to the screen, to the lock photo of Mia blowing birthday candles, and something in his expression shattered. You have a child. It wasn't a question. The emergency room hummed with fluorescent lights and hushed urgency. Alina back clutched Mia's small hand as the child wheezed against the oxygen mask, her teddy bear worn fur patched with duct tape tucked under one arm. Almost there, mi corazon, Alina whispered, brushing damp curls from her daughter's forehead. A shadow fell across the hospital cot. She needs pediatric intensive care. Damien stood in the doorway, his sleeves rolled to reveal the tattoos Alina had traced that night. His voice was calm, but his knuckles whitened around a familiar stuffed bear identical to Mia's, except, pristine? Where did you get that? Elena's throat tightened. I donated 50 to this hospital. His gaze locked on Mia's bear. After my sister died. The first lie UNR vest, the penthouse elevator smelled of antiseptic and fear. Alina rocked. A sleeping Mia in the guest suite Damien had insisted on, her fingers trembling against the IV tube. She hadn't asked how he'd gotten them bumped to the top of the specialist wait list. Some doors only opened for billionaires. A knock, Richard, Damien's valet, loomed with a silver tray. Your things from the maid's quarters? He dropped. Her sketchbook with deliberate force. It fell open to a page that made Elena's blood freeze. A charcoal portrait of Damien sleeping, dated the morning after. Mr. Cross prefers his staff unattached. Richard's smile was venomous. Tell him you're already spoken for. Before Elena could respond, Damien's voice cut through the doorway. Get out. Richard retreated. But not before pocketing Mia's medication list. The midnight CONFECSAON Lena found Damien in his study at 2 a.m. A half-empty whiskey bottle beside a framed photo of a laughing girl, same teddy bear in her arms. Clara, he rasped. Asthma took her at 6. The pieces clicked. The donated bears. His panic at the hospital. The way he'd known which specialist to call. You thought Elena's voice broke. You thought Mia was yours. Damien's laugh was raw. I had my team dig the second I saw that bear. She's not. He lifted bloodshot eyes. But you knew who I was when you took this job. I didn't. Alina grabbed his wrist. The agency assigned me last minute. His pulse jumped under her fingers. Prove it. She did the only thing she could, pulled out her phone and showed him the date on her temp contract. The same day as Mia's fever. Damien stilled. Then, slowly, his hand covered hers. Tell me why you left. The truth spilled out. The eviction notice, the night shift at the diner. The fear that a man like him would take one look at her cracked phone screen and tired eyes and regret ever touching her. Damien's thumb brushed. Her wedding ring tan line. Her father? Gone? Alina swallowed. Like you should be. Instead, he cupped her face. Try harder! The smoke alarm screamed at 3:17 a.m. Alina bolted upright in the guest suite, her heart hammering before her eyes were fully open. The air already tasted acrid. Mia? She reached for the bed. Empty panic clawed up her throat. The hallway was a tunnel of swirling gray heat radiating from the east wing. Somewhere in the chaos, she heard Richard's voice. The child went back for her bear. Alina didn't think. She ran. The RSCUF flames licked up the library walls, devouring centuries-old books and the teddy bears displayed behind glass Damien's memorial to his sister. And there, curled under a desk, was Mia clutching her ragged bear, her breath coming in shallow wheezes. Mama, a ceiling beam crashed between them. Then arms wrapped around Alina from behind, yanking her back. Damien, stay here. He shoved a fire extinguisher into her hands and dove into the flames. Alina watched through tears as he crawled toward Mia, his shirt catching sparks. Watched as he wrapped her in his suit jacket and ran just as another beam collapsed. The last thing she saw before the smoke swallowed them. Damien shielding Mia with his body. The hospital via GL, the ICU, smelled like sterility and grief. Mia slept peacefully, oxygen mask fogging with each breath. But Damien and Alina traced the burns, bandaging his hands. The doctors said he'd refused treatment until Mia was stable, and he'd whispered not again as they sedated him. Richard's betrayal sat between them like a living thing. The embezzlement ledgers had survived the fire. Revealing he'd set it to destroy evidence, a nurse entered with a plastic bag, found in Mr. Cross's pocket. Alina appended it. Her charcoal sketch of Damien now warped by water, but unmistakably. Saved on the back, in his precise script, keep this, in case you ever want to draw me again. The hospital room door burst open at dawn. Alina jerked awake, still slumped in the chair between Mia's crib and Damien's bed. A silver-haired woman, in a Chanel suit, stood framed in the doorway. Margaret Cross, Damien's mother. So, manicured fingers curled around a tabloid featuring photos of Damien carrying Mia from the flames. This is the maid destroying my son's reputation. Mia stirred, clutching her bear tighter. The TA tree at the rooftop garden offered no peace. Sign this. Margaret thrust a document at Alina. $5 million to disappear. Or I sue for custody of that. Asthmatic child, you can't afford to treat. Alina's knees buckled. You wouldn't. My lawyers are already drafting the petition. Margaret's smile was glacial. Unstable, single mother. Dangerous living conditions. And Damien's history with sick little girls. Alina recoiled. You'd use Claire's memory against him? The family's sake? Margaret pocketed the unsigned check. Absolutely. The AWAK Annan's fingers twitched against the sheets. Mia, perched on his bed with Alice in Wonderland, Clara's favorite, gasped. Mama, he's waking up! Lena rushed forward just as Damien's lashes fluttered open. His burned hand found Mia's small one first, then rose shakily to cup Elena's cheek. Richard? His voice was gravel. Jail. Alina pressed his palm to her lips. But your mother heard everything. Damien's gaze cut to the doorway where Margaret stood frozen, especially the part where she threatened my family. The monitor beeped wildly as he struggled to sit up. Try to take Mia, mother, and I'll burn the Cross fortune to the ground. Cosite, the penthouse smelled of fresh paint and possibility. Alina unpacked Mia's clothes into a cherrywood dresser, their dresser, in their new wing of the mansion. Damien watched from the bed, his bandaged hands sketching blueprints for an asthma research center. You're sure? He caught Alina's wrist as she passed. The press will call you a gold digger. My world is ours now. She kissed his brow. Besides, she nodded to Mia, who was cheerfully shredding Margaret's unsigned check into confetti. We've already got a dragon slayer in the family. The ribbon-cutting scissors gleamed under spring sunlight as Mia, now 6, stood on tiptoe between them. Ready? Damien murmured, his hands steadying hers on the oversized handles. The crowd cheered as the ribbon fell, officially opening the Clara Cross Pediatric Asthma Center, its lobby dominated by Elena's mural of a laughing girl with a teddy bear. Surrounded by children of every color, reporters surged forward. But Mia was already darting inside, leading a tour for her new friends. From the asthma support group, the Gala Lalana's debut exhibit occupied the center's sunlit atrium. Dozens of portraits lined the walls, Damien sketching at dawn, Mia mid-laugh with her nebulizer. Even Margaret caught unawares while tending the rooftop roses. The centerpiece made guests pause. A charcoal study of two bears, one pristine. Patched side by side on a hospital bed, Damien's throat worked. He remembered Alina laced their fingers. Every scar. The Pieropo salat at the reception, Mia tugged Damien's sleeve. Made you something? She presented a teddy bear in a tiny tuxedo, its paw outstretched.
Out.
Nestled in its grip was an emerald ring the same shade as Elena's eyes. Mama says real love is patchwork, Mia announced to the tearful crowd. So this bear's got two hearts. She pointed to the careful stitching across its chest, where Damien's initials now intertwined with Elena's, when he knelt. It wasn't on one knee, but both arms wide enough for his girls to crash into. Took you long enough, Elena whispered against his lips. Epilogue 5 years later, the Times headline. Former maid's portrait wins national MEDL. The photo showed Elena in her studio, Damien's chin resting on her shoulder as she painted there. Newest subject, a dark-haired toddler with Clara's smile and Mia's stubborn brow, clutching her own patched bear.